Statistics suggest that 6.5% of the world's population suffer with a fear of flying, and one passenger in every 3 seats on an aircraft would rather not be there. So if you're suffering with a fear of flying, you're definitely not alone.
Now, air travel is primarily associated with really pleasurable life experiences and making lifelong memories, so it's really important to address this fear. Now, the good news is no one is born with any phobia, so a fear of flying, which is officially known as aerophobia or aviophobia, is a learned behaviour. And in the short film, we're going to share with you some possible causes of aerophobia to help you address the cause, and then we're going to give you some tips on how you can overcome your fear.
Yes, as Eva just mentioned, no one is born with a fear of flying. Therefore, your fear, if you've got one, is a learned behaviour. So we'll share with you now the 6 most common reasons why someone has a fear of flying and tips on each one to hopefully help you overcome your fear.
So number 1 is copying behaviour. Did you become fearful of flying because a parent or sibling or someone that you travelled with, probably as a child, were really frightened? If so, ask yourself, is that person always right? Do you do everything that they do? If not, for a moment consider why not? And if a neighbour told you just randomly to start fearing something, would you? Now, I expect that the answer is going to be no, and this isn't any different. So if you've been on an aeroplane, then we know it's never let you down. So why believe something that's not true about the 3rd safest mode of transport after escalators and elevators?
You know, copying parents is a real common one, and I would also ask yourself, if you have copied your mum or your dad, how has it helped their life? You know, we know it's not helped their life at all, and we know that they've struggled going on holiday.
Definitely.
So if it's not worked for them, then you don't want to copy.
And I've got to say that I absolutely love the fact that flying is the 3rd safest mode of transport after escalators and elevators. You know, that just really shows just how safe it is.
Anyway, let's move on. So, having a bad experience on a flight, it could be as a result of turbulence. So if you've had a bad experience, no matter how bad that was, just ask yourself, okay, you encountered some turbulence, but what actually happened? You see, a bit of turbulence, but essentially nothing happened because you're here, you're watching this video right now, and you wouldn't have done that if the plane didn't land safely. So just consider, what did the plane do? It got you to your destination safely and back. So the fact is, you can have a bad experience in a car when you go out, but if it brings you back home, you still get in a car. So a plane really should be no different.
And I think another really good example of this is a relationship, because the likelihood is you'll have had at least one bad relationship in your life, but you don't give up on relationships. So what we'd like to consider is that flying is no different.
So if you've had a bad experience, don't blame the aeroplane. As all the plane has ever done is get you to your destination safely and get you home safely. If you had a bad experience, even as a result of turbulence, the same thing still applies.
And the thing is about turbulence, I used to be really uncomfortable with turbulence.
Oh,
However,
I know that, yeah.
But you know, having worked with a number of people over the years with a fear of flying, we've then taken them on small aircrafts after we've treated them in private airfields. And I've got to say that I've spoken with an abundance of highly qualified, highly trained, highly skilled pilots. And I now understand that turbulence is a result of the fact that as you fly over the earth, there's different temperatures as you're flying over soil or over the sea, and that kind of creates air movement. So turbulence is no different to waves in the ocean, and pilots often use those airstreams almost like surfing to get them to the destination quicker. The main thing though is that pilots and cabin crew fly all the time, and they want to get home just as much as you do. They've got husbands and wives and families and friends that they want to get home to as well. So their objective is to get you to your destination safely.
I like to consider turbulence like going down a cobble street, because if you're driving your car, you don't want to go down a cobble street. Sometimes you have to, and sometimes your sat nav takes you down a cobble street. But if you could avoid it, you would. I think turbulence is very much like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 3, some people have a fear of flying or won't even attempt to fly just because they have a lack of understanding of how planes fly and stay in the sky. As much as we understand this, if you consider electricity, we don't know how that works, we don't even know what it looks like. However, you don't have any issue at all flicking a switch and turning a light on.
Number 4 is terrorism. Now, terrorism is of course a concern for all of us. However, due to the sadly numerous terrorist attempts, what's actually come of that and what's resulted from that is that security has been enhanced, and it's far more stringent and effective than it's ever been. And now, as a consequence, there are thorough checks being made consistently.
Other phobias can actually cause a fear of flying, such as claustrophobia, which is a fear of enclosed spaces, emetophobia, which is a fear of sickness, or mysophobia, which is a fear of germs. If you take a look at this YouTube channel, then you'll already find some helpful films on some of those conditions, and if you subscribe to the channel, we'll let you know when a new film's added, and we actually intend to cover all those phobias individually so we can help you.
And finally, number 6 is transference. Now, what we mean by that is that you've kind of had bad experience such as anxiety or a panic attack on a plane as a result of something entirely different and nothing to do with flying, and now you're worried that you'll experience those same feelings of anxiety and panic again next time you fly because you've wrongly attributed your anxiety and anxious feeling to the aircraft. Now, a great example of, or a recent great example of that for us and of transference is of a woman who recently attended one of our workshops, and she was telling us that she had a really immense fear of flying. But as we spoke with her, what we discovered that while she'd been on holiday, her boyfriend had almost died, and she was the one that had to stay really brave and really strong throughout. And it was only when they actually got on the aircraft to fly home that all these emotions surfaced out of relief because, you know, it was over, he was fine, they were going home, and she got very emotional and she got breathless. And what she did in that moment, she blamed the aircraft and she developed a fear of flying because she'd convinced herself that the feelings she had were due to the plane. Now, this realisation and us explaining that it was actually transference and nothing to do with the plane, and pointing out that he'd got better and that in fact they weren't even together anymore, that combination of information there stopped her fear immediately and she completely let it go.
It was great, wasn't it?
It was.
So we hope our tips have helped, and we'll be sharing some more interesting facts right on this channel in the coming weeks to highlight further reasons why planes are a great and safe mode to travel.
So thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel, and we really very much hope that you can now, with this information, go ahead, make lots of lovely lifelong memories and visit many different parts of the world.
Holidays are amazing, aren't they?
They
Let's be
are.
honest.
They
Go
are.
on a holiday, it's great.